I love this question. Everyone gets it wrong. Everybody. So how do we prevent that? Well, first we need to make sure we're looking in the right place. That's very easy here. Even though we don't have a line reference, we have names, and these are very easy names to find. Remember, the passages are generally in chronological order. This also kind of fits with that expectation, but it's also easy to find just by skimming. So yeah, I've got the lines right here. So what do we need to know about these kids? Let's look at the lines and see what we get, okay? During the drive to the Qubarl mansion, Lady Carlotta was impressively introduced to the nature of the charge that had been thrust upon her. She learned that Claude and Wilfred were delicate, sensitive young people, that Irene had the artistic temperament highly developed, and that Viola was something or other else of a mold equally commonplace among children of that class and type in the 20th century. Okay. So, seems pretty positive if we were to try to dumb summary this, right? I mean, impressive, highly developed, delicate, sensitive, all that good stuff. So probably we're not going to pick C right off the bat. Hostile to the idea of a governess. That's a very negative idea, so that doesn't really match with what we're reading. B and D are kind of similar, right? Unusually creative and intelligent, more educated than others of their age. Well, those seem to kind of fit with them being impressive. A, similar to many of their peers, well, I don't know, that kind of seems to contradict what they're saying. That's what most people pick. Or, sorry, that's what most people cross out. That is the answer, though. And so how do we go from B and D being similar but tempting choices to this kind of weird opposite being the right answer? What is going on here? Well, if we actually do the hard work of narrowing our focus and looking at these answer choices not as whole choices, but as smaller choices that are kind of combined, right? Like each word is its own little choice, and we have to evaluate that choice. And so something like unusually creative and intelligent, well, it says that Irene has the artistic temperament highly developed. Maybe that is justification for her being unusually creative, but that's one kid, okay? So that's not a good sign, right? I mean, what does it say about the others? Does it say that they're unusually intelligent? They're delicate and sensitive. She was impressively introduced to them, but that's a little different than saying that the kids themselves are impressive, right? We'll get to that in a second. And then the weirdest part of this is that Viola is equally commonplace. So something that doesn't sound unusually creative or intelligent, right? If she's commonplace, that means she's average, right? So picking apart that choice, we've got a problem. It doesn't actually say that they're unusually intelligent. That's not there. And that's similar to choice D, more educated than others of their age. Well, the first question I would want to ask is, do they make a comparison, right? That word than is a powerful word here. It's telling me that there must be a comparison in the lines. So that would be the first thing I'd want to know is, are they actually comparing these kids to other people? Not until the end. Not until the end. And so this other stuff about them being delicate and sensitive and having a highly developed artistic temperament, well, it never really says that anything about their peers, right? It's just talking about them. And then the one time it talks about other children, it says the opposite. It doesn't say that they're more educated. It says that these kids are commonplace, right? That they're just like the other kids. And so choice D gets undermined the same way. It seems right at first, but at second glance, if we look a little closer, if we narrow our focus to the individual words and ideas in both the choices and the passage, they're saying the opposite. They're saying these kids are commonplace. So there's still one criticism that you might have against me here, picking choice A. And it's that, well, it only really says that Viola is similar to her other peers. So that seems kind of like the same problem I pointed out before for Irene and her artistic temperament, right? Like we only had one kid who justified that, and so that's why we couldn't pick choice B. Now we only have one kid justifying choice A, and so that seems to, be a little bit of a a contradiction, that it works and, we can cross out a choice one time and not another, but, it's the same reason. And this is where we have to be really particular about some things. First of all, like I said, in choice B, it's not really just the creative part, it's the intelligent part, that it doesn't say any of them are unusually intelligent. So that's wrong for that reason. But as far as A goes, we have to really understand deeply what's going on in this scene. Lady Carlotta has met Mrs. Quabarl and is going to go look after her children. At least that's what Mrs. Quabarl thinks. And so Mrs. Quabarl is impressively introducing the children. The children aren't there. They're just being talked about. So Mrs. Quabarl, like most mothers, is bragging about her children and saying how amazing they are. Oh, cute little Claude and Wilfred. They're such delicate, sensitive young people. And Irene, she has the artistic temperament highly developed. She's so good for her age. She's so smart. You should see her color in the lines. Like, the mother is just talking up her kids. And then we switch back mid-sentence to Lady Carlotta's analysis of what's going on. She's rolling her eyes. That's what this part at the end means. It's Lady Carlotta rolling her eyes and saying, yeah, great, your kids sound amazing, awesome. And basically acknowledging that, like every other kid at the time, they're just normal kids, and the mother is just going on and bragging about them, and she doesn't care, and the kids are not impressive, they're just normal kids. So that's really advanced. And I don't think we really need to truly understand that to get this question right. We just need to know why B, C, and D are wrong, and we can get that just by looking a little bit more closely at those choices and not just picking based on our first instinct. We have to look at the words. So narrow your focus. It's really important. But I will say that a question like number 7 appears on pretty much every literature passage on every SAT, right? So most literature questions in that first passage are pretty easy. They're pretty straightforward. They behave the same way as any other SAT question. Usually, though, we get one that's a little bit like this. It just kind of has a deeper meaning. There's something weird going on, and the literal words that we're reading don't perfectly match up with the meaning. And that makes sense that would happen in the literature passage, right? Because we're talking about characters. There's stories involving people who behave like us, and we lie, we tell jokes, we're sarcastic, we exaggerate, right? All these things where we say one thing, but we mean something different. That is what's happening here. Mrs. Quabarl is saying one thing, but Lady Carlotta knows the truth and is interpreting it, and, I think she's right, a different way. And we're supposed to answer based on Lady Carlotta's point of view here. So it's tricky. If you got it wrong, I wouldn't really go crazy over it, but I just want you to kind of plant that seed in your brain that there's probably one of these on every test, and maybe you'll notice it. It's not worth losing points over by overcompensating in the other direction. But if you're near a 700 or better in reading, this is the kind of question where you do want to be a little bit more alert. You might be able to save yourself 10 points just by having gotten this one wrong and looking out for it the next time.